Okay, I have quick question. Please unmute me. Sure. Okay, you are allowed to unmute. Please go ahead with your question, Jyoti.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Yesterday, I was like, already AWS account was created before 2 months. I was like, not yet practiced anything. While choosing the support plan, by mistakenly, I was selected the developer plan, sir. How can I do the further? Is there any change? Is there any possibility to change that developer plan? I was raised.
Yes, yes,
I
you
was
can.
running
Uh-huh.
as
Yeah.
well at that time only. I was like mailed to them, like I mistakenly created this developer plan, selected this developer plan. I don't want this. Like that,
Mhm.
I was mailed to them. I was not
Okay,
doing any.
so I got your issue.
Yeah.
So don't write an email, raise a ticket. So log into your AWS account,
Okay.
navigate to support. So
Okay.
there, you can find accounting and billing related. Click on create case. Here
Okay.
you have an option accounting and billing. You click here, select billing or account management.
One
Okay.
second, sir. Actually, I was raised this ticket. What they replied to me, it is related to account and billing. We are forwarded the issue to them. They will reach the within the required time. Please wait. Like that, they was.
Yes, yes, but instead of writing an email and waiting for their responses,
Mm,
the quickest option is so
okay.
that's what I'm saying. As it is accounting and billing information
Mm,
related one, so
okay.
you raise a ticket now under this accounting and billing, and
Okay.
here you select account management or billing.
Mm,
Select any category, for example, so you can mention other billing questions.
okay.
Severity only one option you will get,
Mm,
then click on next and here write down the subject and give the description.
okay.
Okay, so selected developer support plan, you write down this description. Accidentally I have selected, you
Mm,
mention that and also mention one more point.
okay.
So if it incurs any cost,
Okay.
please waive off.
Okay.
Ask them to waive off that pricing. Then
Okay.
click on solve now or contact us.
Mm,
So here click on contact us.
okay.
Okay, click
Mm,
on contact us. Select a phone. You select the country and you gave your phone number. One
mm,
of the AWS guy will immediately call you.
okay.
Otherwise, this is email communication again. I don't prefer this web.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Otherwise,
selected that
you
first option only, sir.
select chat immediately. One chat window will open
Mm,
in in 5 or 10 minutes. One of the AWS engineer will chat with you.
okay.
So then you explain the scenario.
Mm.
So okay, and he will waive off the cost and all.
Sir, so do we need to pay for this? I was
No,
accidentally selected that one.
no.
Actually, I was contact to my manager also. He was somewhat aware.
I said no. You no need to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
If you
was
raise a
like
ticket, they will waive off.
getting worried about that, sir. Accidentally, I was selected. Literally, I was not aware on that completely. So, accidentally, was selected. So, I was like very worried about that. So, it was
That's no
showing.
issue. You can always contact AWS support and they will help you to fix the issues.
I thought like I have to close a complete account, or I was waited for you up to morning.
No need to close an account. No need to
Okay.
close an account for this issue.
Yeah. We are not
Even
used any risk.
they are authority to waive off the billing also. If
Mm-hmm.
you accidentally launched any service, if you're not really used for any purpose,
Mm.
AWS will clear the bill also. They will waive off the bill also.
So
So
mistakenly I was created, na sir. So they will charge anything like $1 or $2.
that's what I'm saying, ma'am. AWS have authority to waive off that bill. So
Okay.
while you're discussing, you just mention that point, then definitely they'll definitely waive off that.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that. You just raise a ticket and discuss with AWS team.
Mm.
Whatever the response, if you're not satisfied with their response and all, you
Mm.
just drop an email if you have any queries. This is
Okay.
my email ID.
Thank you, sir.
You
Okay.
no need to wait for next session. Whatever
Mm.
the findings, outcomes you have that from ticket, you
Mm.
just drop an email.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So in our last session, we have discussed about how to create an IAM user. What are all the permissions we have for an IAM user? The maintaining permissions with the help of policies. What are the policies we have? That we have discussed. So I asked you guys to perform some tasks. So you guys are able to do these tasks, or any question on these tasks? You guys are able to do that, the third one? So first one is pretty straightforward. Create an IAM user, give a policy, administrator policy, you just log in, you can access everything apart from account management. But to get account management, what exactly step you need to perform? So where, can an IAM user do that? No, right? So what you need to do? You first need to log in as a root user. Once you log in as a root user, whenever you click my account on top right corner, here, when you click on account, it will take you to account management page. So you see here, it's saying IAM access denied. So I'm working as an IAM user, that Avinash_T user I'm working now. That guy have administrator access on this account, but still he is not able to use this account management things. So what we need to do? Log in as a root user, go to account management page. If you scroll down a bit, you can find an option called provide billing access to IAM users or roles. By defaultly, that option is going to be deactivated. Activate that option. Okay, click on sign into the console. Now, need to log in as a root user. Sign in using root user email. I use this email to create this AWS account. I'm giving a password. And it also enabled with multi-factor authentication. So I need to give that 6-digit PIN number. Yesterday, someone wrote an email, or they asked, I forgot his name, but he uninstalled application. He enabled MFA, he uninstalled application. So while you're if you land into such type of scenarios, here is an option, troubleshoot MFA. So you can sign in using alternative factors. Send a you need to do the verification email here, send a verification email, log in and verify, then verify your phone number, then it allow you to log in. If that is still not working, you have an option here, AWS support. You click here, raise a ticket, AWS will disable MFA for you. Okay. So that is an option if you accidentally uninstall that application and all. Okay. So now I've logged into my AWS account as a root user. So as a first step, navigate to account. Right. Scroll down and here IAM user and role access to billing information. Even whatever the user you are using here, the administrator user, if you manually gave billing policy also, he cannot access billing unless you activate this feature. You see here, by defaultly, it's deactivated. That's the reason, even if you have administrator access also, you are not able to see billing information. Edit, activate, update. So that is the task 2 I asked you guys to perform. Okay. So now I'm going to log in as an IAM user. I'm logging as an IAM user who have administrator access. As I told you, same user I'm going to use throughout the course. So now if I click on this account, it won't give any error now. You see, is it giving any error? No. So you can scroll here, you can see billing information, you can configure budgets. So you can see the bills here. So everything we can see. Right. So this is a task 2 I asked you guys to perform. How about task 3? As I told you, this is important, right? So you got any chance to perform this? Anyone performed it? Tried? Good. Tried and failed? No issues. Not tried? Big issue. Now account not created? Very, very big issue. Okay. Create an account as soon as possible. If you already paid the fees, you don't have any other option. Do it immediately. Okay. They don't refund. Okay. So create an account immediately. Right. So here you can follow 2 methods. First of all, you go to IAM. While creating a policy, select all related to MFA. If you control F, search MFA, what are all the available ones, select all, then create a policy with that. That is one option. Another option is, okay, first whatever error it is giving, open that permission. Then come back and try. It will give different error. Then open that permission again. Then, so basically this is a trial and error method. You try, it will give an error, you fix that error, you try again, it will give a new error, you go and fix that. Okay, whatever option you selected doesn't matter. End of the day, you need to complete the task. So it's pretty simple only. Whatever the user we created, let me navigate to IAM. See, if you want to, whatever the common services you use, right? You can add it as a favorites here. Click on all services or search for this required service. You have an option here called star. If you add the star, you can find that service here. For example, I don't have star here. I don't have an IAM here. Now I'm going to add star. You see, IAM is added here. Even if you want to, you can drag and drop. Okay. So if you want to navigate to IAM, just click on this link. If you clear your browser history and all, this will clear. You need to do that again. It's a browser cache. Okay. So now we have some users. So we have created this S3 admin yesterday, right? So this guy have only S3 full access and EC2 access. I even don't want to give S3 EC2 also. As per the name, I'm giving only S3 full access. If I log in as this user, now this guy want to activate MFA himself. So go to security credentials. When he scroll down to this MFA option, it's giving an error. So what permissions are missing? IAM is a service, list MFA devices permissions are missing here. Okay, so now what you need to do, these permissions. Here IAM, list MFA. So now go and create a policy. Create a policy. So this, if you observe this, service name, colon, and action. First service name, if you observe this, I'm copying and pasting this into a document. IAM, colon, then list MFA devices. This IAM is a service. For example, IAM, list users. This is also a permission. If you want to give list user permission to any of the guy, so you need to open a permission in IAM service. What action you need to open? List users or list MFA devices. Now, select service as a IAM. Okay. So then what action? So if you click on expand all, it will show lot. So what permission is missing? List MFA devices. Add this permission. Now scroll down. Don't worry about remaining all the things. Select resources to restrict. All resources or any specific resource. You go with all if you are manually adding this policy to your user. Or you can give a single user also, no issue. Then click on next. Click on review. Then give a name. Task -MFA is a name I'm giving. MFA task. Now click on create policy. Fine. Now a policy created. So I want to add this or associate this policy to a user. So for that, go to select policy usage. Okay. So there you have an option called attach. Then select the user. I want to associate it to S3 admin. Then click on attach policy. Otherwise, you go to user and from there also you can do it. Okay, you can do it in both ways. All right. So now come back and give a refresh. So currently it is giving list MFA device permissions. Now you see the error gone. But can I activate? Only that particular error is gone. When I click on assign MFA device, I am selecting virtual MFA, click on continue, and it is saying different permissions here. So this guy also need to have create virtual MFA device permission. What you need to do? Go to the policy. This is the permissions, right? Edit this policy. We created it. We can edit a number of the times. So expand this. What permissions are missing? Expand all. Here, create virtual MFA device permissions are missing. Search for it. Give that. So this is one option. By looking at error, you are adding permissions. Other option is simply search for MFA. Total 11 permissions are there regarding MFA. So here, list MFA device, physical device, virtual devices, tag, untag, if you want to add tags and remove tags. If you want to resynchronize, delete physical device, delete virtual device, select all the available ones on all resources, review policy, save changes. Now, we provide all the permissions we have for only MFA. Okay, so now this user, if he is trying to perform, activating, deactivating, everything will allow now. Virtual MFA, click on continue. Okay, you just need to wait for a minute or two. MFA is already exist. For this user, MFA already exists. So you just need to sign out and sign in sometimes to fix that errors. Okay. So something is like, you just need to sign out and sign in. So then you can assign MFA. Okay. So now, again, if this guy tried to, see, we just perform MFA permission. Along with that, we have a lot of permission in IAM. We have not provided any. If this guy is trying to view users, is it allowing? This guy is trying to view users. No permissions. Can he create a policy at least? Can he modify policy? No. We have provided only MFA activate, deactivate permissions, no other permissions. So can he delete that password permissions and all? It's not allowing. So that is the task I asked you guys to perform. Okay? Right. Do we need to do this in root user only? See, here am I working as a root user? So a user who have admin IAM permissions, that guy also can do this. So now onwards, I'm not at all going to use any root user. If I want to perform any activity, I'm going to use same user who have administrator access. All right? Yeah, that is the task 3 I asked you guys to perform. So if you haven't performed it, spend some time, do it today. All right. So now we have some more options in this IAM. Okay. So whenever you navigate to IAM, so the first option is, this is an issue actually. So in left pane, you have an option called credentials report. So sometimes what happened, you need to get all the IAM users list when they actually last logged in, when they need to change the password and all. So basically you want to get list of all IAM users. So for that purpose, here we have an option called credentials report. Click on credentials report. So here you see credentials report, download report. When you click on this download report, what happened? All the IAM users you have in this AWS account, you will get list of all that IAM users, when they last logged in, when the user is created, when they need to change their password, next password rotation, how many access keys you have for that user. So those all things you are going to have in this report. So you see here, this is a report I downloaded. So all the IAM users, when the user got created. See, I created this account. The root account is nothing but when this account is created. So I created this account like, an year back. It's almost free tier completed. So 1 year completed. Still I'm using it. So you see here, these are all users yesterday I created. 17th means yesterday, right? Is password enabled? Yes. When the password is last used, technically when that guy last logged in. Password last changed, password next rotation, MFA is activated or not, access keys, does this user have any access keys, secret access keys? Okay, so those are all information we are going to have here. So generally in organization, we will do some cleanup activities. For example, whoever not logged in last 6 months, we want to deactivate those those accounts. Why? Because unnecessarily it's going to pile up, right? So we want to deactivate. How we will get that information? We cannot go and ask each and every user, right? So simply you download this. It tells us when password last used. That means when he last logged in. So whoever is not logged in last 90 days, get that report, send an email. Okay, you have not logged into AWS account from last 90 days or last 6 months or last one year. So do you really need this AWS account? Can we disable it? Okay, so we can write such type of emails. For that purpose, we will use this credentials report. Okay, can't we verify it manually? You can. See, if you select any IAM user, you navigate here. I'm selecting this S3 admin user. When we navigate to the security credentials, it is saying when last logged in happened, whether password is enabled or not, we can verify that here. But at what time logged in happened, so that we cannot, right? So with the help of credentials report, we can do that. Okay, so that is a helpful option for administrators who manage the users. Clear with that credentials report option? Now, once sometimes some users will leave the project, or they are going to the user ID is required. We don't want to delete the user ID. In that scenario, we do have an option to keep that user in disabled state also. We are not deleting. Deleting means we don't have any option to get it back. You are completely deleting that entity, the user, all his permissions and all everything. Okay, so for delete, here is an option. But the user not left the organization temporarily, he is working in different project, again he will come back to our project. In that scenario, deleting and creating again is not a solution. What we can do, temporarily we can disable the user. So for that, here we have console password option, right? Click on manage. Here we have an option called disable. Then click on apply. User is still there in my account, but I have disabled it. So he cannot, you see this, user does not have console management access. If it is a programmatic access, here we are going to have an option called deactivate key, make inactive. If you click on make inactive, so his CLI access won't work. His console access won't work, but the user is there. Whenever he came back to the project again, so then we can simply manage, enable custom password or auto-generated password. You want to enforce him to create a new password, then apply. Even if he required CLI access, you can go and make active. Otherwise, you delete this one, create a new key. new pair of key. So this is user temporarily not in the project. So we have disable as well as delete, both options we have here in IAM. Okay. So now another helpful option here is, okay, we have an option called policy simulator. What is a simulator? Have you ever played any flight simulator games? In Europe, what happened? A guy, like, he played flight simulator n number of the times and he hijacked a flight and he landed it safely. So, the controls and everything is going to be safe. It's just a game. It's a simulator. It's not a real plane. Okay. You can even find n number of the games, but you don't hijack, huh? Flight simulator. Microsoft also have one game for that. Microsoft Flight Simulator. So what are the options we need to enable? How exactly that looks like? It's an Xbox game, only for rich people, not for us. So you see, so similar way the controls and everything you're going to have. So this is like it's not a real flight. It's not a real flight, but you will have control similar to real flight. You even have an option to select like, Boeing 530, 727, all that models also you can select. Okay, so the controls will change, but that's not a real flight. In similar way, so, we have created a user. What is happening? We have given some permission to the user. That user is working, but he is trying to perform an activity and it is giving an error. It is giving an error. And he just simply send a message, okay, we are not able to access this. We are not able to access that. He sent a message. Now you need to inspect that. So you just observe the policies. He have like, 10 policies directly to the user level, 10 policies coming from group level. So do you really need to go and inspect each and every policy? So if you have enough time, if you are patient enough, then you can go and read each and every one and you can try to fix it. But which policy is denying? If we'll come to know that, we can easily fix it, right? So to evaluate that user permissions, we can use this simulator. We can use this simulator just to evaluate. Multiple policies are allowing. Some policies denying somewhere. You're not sure where it is denying. Okay. So with the help of simulator, you can simulate all his permissions. Again, you're not going to his location and you're not verifying. You are sitting in your AWS console, your account, you're picking all his permissions. Again, you're not logging as a user to verify. You are logging as your account only, but you're evaluating the permissions, which policy is allowing, which policy is denying. You are able to evaluate it. So simply you can fix it. Okay. So for that, we have a helpful tool called Policy Simulator. We will get a lot of such type of activities. So they will simply write, okay, I'm not able to access this. Check it. We are into AWS operations, right? So some guys, they will try to perform it and they will write, okay, we are not able to access this. They will simply send some errors. So we need to work on that. We need to fix that error. So while fixing that error, this tool will help us. Okay. So what I will do first here, I'm taking a user. I'm taking a user called S3 admin. Okay. So this S3 admin, let me add this user to a group, admins group as well as S3 admins. And also manually, I'll add some permissions. S3 full access is there. I'm going to give administrator access. And yesterday we created one for Denny, right? I'm going to give that also. Now you see here, how many policies this user have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6 policies this user have. Now, he is trying to create an S3 bucket, but he is not able to. So now he is sending a message in Teams. Hey, Avinash, I'm not able to do this. Can you verify? Can you check it? Can you fix that issue? Now, if I come here, I can see all these permissions. So in regular, what I need to do, I need to read this, whether this administrator is denying, this Denny S3 is denying, task MFA is denying, and even some permissions coming from group level also. Okay, I'm not sure which one is denying that S3 bucket creation operation. So for easy evaluation purpose, what I can do is I'm navigating to under these tools, we have policy simulator. Navigating to policy simulator. Okay, navigating to policy simulator. This is a policy simulator, guys. Whether you want to simulate user permission, group permissions, let's go with the user permission. Select the user, S3 admin. This user have some permissions directly here, some permission from group level. You see this image here, individual user, multiple users. So multiple user means the permission coming from group level. Individual users directly attached to user. By having all these policies, this user is trying to perform something in S3. What action he is trying to perform? Create bucket. Here is a create bucket option. I'm selecting it. And when you run simulation, end of the day, output is denied. Why? Which statement is denying? When you expand this, you see, there is a policy called Denny S3 policy. Within that policy, which statement? Click on show statement. This particular part is not allowing him to perform that operation. For example, can he launch a server? You verify. Or else can he perform something in IAM? IAM. In IAM, can he delete a profile? Let's verify that. Run simulation. He's allowed. How many policies are allowing? 2 policies are there. Administrator and administrator. One is from root user level and one is from group level. That is allowing. But this create bucket is not allowing. So now what I can do simply, okay, this policy is giving an error for this user. I can simply go and I can remove this. If I remove that policy, is this work now? Run simulation. Just give a refresh. Okay, we just perform the modification now only, right? We just give a refresh. Now this guy is trying to perform S3. Create bucket. And this guy is performing like, IAM create delete profile or something like that. Then run simulation. You see, now it is allowed. Okay. So even you can test it. Okay. We can even uncheck if you don't have this permission. What happened? Then run simulation. It will allow. If we have this permission, then what happened? You can run the simulation by selecting, deselecting the options here. So it is not mandatory to use. It is not a mandatory to use, but a helpful tool whenever any user comes with an issues. Okay. So that is a policy simulator. All right. So now we have some more options here. We have some more options here related to IAM only. So the option is, you have an IAM user. Okay. So you have given some permission to that user. And what happened? That user did something. That user did something and he is not admitting it. For example, you have a server. Someone deleted that server. Or we have an S3 bucket or folder. So one of the IAM user deleted it. But they are saying like, I have not performed it and all. They are not admitting it. So then your manager asked you, hey, Avinash, go and investigate who did that. Come back with a proof. So if you go and ask again, they will say, no, I have not deleted. They won't admit, right? If they want to, they will voluntarily, they will come and they will admit that. So I crashed one server in my career starting stage. I directly went to my manager and sat in front of him. Okay, I crashed a mailbox. Okay, then he was very mad at me. So then he asked me to leave for the day. I went to home. Next day morning, I called him. They have a backup, but they need to put a lot of effort to perform that restoration and all. Finally, it's up and running. So, but because of my one single command, that server is gone. So next day morning, I called him. Okay, do I have my job? Can I come to office? The guy said, okay. So your first manager impact, have good impact on your entire career. So he's my first manager. He's a nice guy. So, let's keep that aside. So now something happened in your AWS account, but no one is admitting that. You want to investigate that. So for that purpose, we have a service called CloudTrail. CloudTrail is a logging service. Whatever the activity you do in AWS account, including refresh, if you give a refresh, that will also write down into backend logs. Now we are navigating to this IAM. So I've navigated to IAM. I've navigated to users. It is listing a users, right? This is also one of the operation, list users operation. It will evaluate whether Avidas have permission to view these users or not. Deleting a user, creating a user, whatever activity you perform in AWS environment, it will logs that. We cannot alter that logs. Alter means modify. We cannot alter, we cannot delete. Okay, we can search that logs with the help of username, with the help of action it performed. For example, delete instance, delete server. I can go and select delete server. What are all the servers related in last 12 hours? I can filter that. Okay. Or else I am suspecting one particular IAM user. I can go to that screen. I can select the username. What this guy is doing from last 30 minutes. I can select that. I can find everything related to his activities. We can even download all that information to our local laptop as a CSV format file. Okay. So in AWS, whatever activity you do, CloudTrail service will logs that. How many days the logs are going to store? The logs defaultly stores for 90 days. You can find last 90 days logs, but somehow you need more than 90 days logs. Then what you can do, you can create a trail. You can send all that logs into another service called S3. What is S3? Storage service. S3 is a storage service. So all these logs, we can send it to an S3. You can put it in a bucket. Okay. So there you can store it for unlimited days. If you want to set up a retention, what is retention? Virat Kohli retained by Bangalore. Royal Challengers Bangalore, right? David Warner not retained by Sunrisers Hyderabad. What does that retention means? So it will stick with them, or they are going to hold it. So similar way, whatever the logs we are getting, we can set up a retention period. I want to have last 365 days logs. I want to keep logs for last 90 days only. So we can configure, if any log age is more than 365 days, it will delete automatically. You manually no need to filter 365 days older and you don't need to delete. You just need to set up a retention period. Based on the retention period, it will delete. When the data is in S3, you can set retention period for unlimited days. 9999 days also you can select. Okay, but default retention period is 90 days in CloudTrail. Okay, so the question in certification exam you will get on this is, you have an IAM user, you want to track all his activities, which service you are going to depend on. That is a cloud practitioner certification exam question. So CloudTrail is a service. Okay, let's see that service now. How about the root user? Will he be able to alter the log? No, no user is allowed to alter the log, including root user. Even we have an option, guys, log file validation. If log file validation is enabled, if someone tried to modify the logs, right, that information will store. Okay. So even if he modified the log, that is also action in AWS, right? That will write down. He's going to alter the override the log, right? That is also write down. So if you commit a mistake, admit it. You don't have any other option to escape in AWS. Okay. CloudTrail maintains logs only at account level or service level. See, yeah, it maintains it all the AWS services. You know, you have S3, you created a bucket, it will log. All the user activity, what user will do? He will work on services. He's going to create a server, he's going to delete a server. So CloudTrail is storing all the things, right? So you got answer for your question? We are ready. So now let's search for CloudTrail. So here, don't create a trail. If you want to store it for more than 90 days, you can use this option. In left pane, expand and select event history. Select event history. You can find all the options here, what exactly this guy is doing from last 30 minutes, from last 1 hour. You can find everything here. So let's select this username. I want to see what this S3 admin guy is doing from last 1 hour. Then select. Is there any username mismatch? Okay. So this Avinash underscore T is doing all these activities from last 30 minutes, from last 1 hour. Or this is like, you know, selecting a username. Why S3 admin is not picked? Same, there is no mistake in that username. Okay, these are yesterday's one. Yesterday's one, it is able to show. Okay, so it is showing all these logs. So not only this with the help of username. So it's not a real-time logs, guys. It's not a real time. That's why I'm not able to pick it immediately. So real time means when something happens, it will immediately write log here. It's like, you know, it's going to take 300 seconds at least, 5 minutes at least to write that logs. So not only that, for example, someone deleted a server. So for that, there is an action called terminate instances. So what are all the instances terminated in last 12 hours, in last 6 days, click on apply. Okay, so I have terminated some today, but where I have terminated, I worked in Singapore region and terminated it. Now it is showing only Mumbai region activities. So let me select Singapore. I am selecting Singapore here. You see here, terminate instance today morning at 8:52. Okay, so when I click on this, it will show all the information. 2 instances I have deleted. At what time you have deleted, in what region, what are the instances, what is the previous state, what is the current state. Okay, so you can find all that information. Who deleted it? Avinash underscore T user terminated it. So the service is a region specific. Whenever you select Singapore, Singapore activities will show. Whenever you select Northern Virginia, all activities will show. I'll tell you why I'm not able to find that S3. Because of S3 is a global, we can find that under Northern Virginia. Okay, that is the reason. Now let me select username. I'm select S3 admin. You see here, I'm able to get, let me select last 1 hour also. Even last 30 minutes also, we are able to see that here. Sometime back, it's not shown. I was a little worried, right? So why I'm not able to get these logs and all? Little worried. Why? Because whatever the service I'm accessing global. Okay, so that's the reason it is not shown. But now you see at 9:23, that means around 20 minutes back one, we are able to see that. We can even download that and we can evaluate it. Okay, just remember the service name, that is important. Okay, so that is a CloudTrail. Any questions on CloudTrail? Yes, that is a delayed user operation. For example, Avinash user deleted S3 admin. So then we can find it. So, like, here you can pick event name, delete user. Okay, so you can find, or else you can simply search for user. You can find here delayed operation, delayed user. In last 12 hours, what are the users deleted? In last, 12 weeks, what are the users deleted? You see this? This user got deleted. Who deleted that? When you click on, we can even find that. There is a user called user1. That user got deleted. Who deleted it? Avinash guy deleted this. So every single operation you perform in AWS, it will write here. Okay, sir, when I'm using my IAM user, it automatically changing location. How to find the location? So, yeah, this first of all, IAM is a global. Whenever you are working in IAM, you no need to select any region. It won't even allow you to select. Whenever you are working in S3 also, it doesn't require any region. Why? Because those are the global resources. Whatever the user we are creating here, that user can access Mumbai resources, Northern Virginia, Singapore, all the available region resources he can access. Okay, so when we need to choose region, we have some region specific services. For example, whenever you go to EC2, yes, it is allowing us to select the region. Now I'm in Mumbai region. If I create a server, that server physically resides in Mumbai data center. If I switch to Central Canada, so it is going to launch a server in Canada data center. So in this scenario, you need to worry about region. But for IAM, for S3, you don't need to worry about region. It's a global. Okay. Once explain about the task 2. Okay. We'll take that at end of the session. So that is a CloudTrail option in our IAM guys. We have two more options. That's not so important. I'm only telling we really don't use it in real environments, not so important ones. So, but I'll quickly talk about that. Okay. So one option is permissions boundary. So permission boundary, even whenever you are creating a user, right? Whenever you are creating a user, after giving username and the password, here you can select the policy, whatever permissions you want to give. Okay. So if you scroll down a bit, you can find an option called set permissions boundary. If you expand, you see this? This is an advanced feature, not a commonly used one. So, but basically the permission boundary is used to define a maximum permissions for an user. So I'll give a very simple example first. Everybody plays or watch cricket, right? Okay. So here, so let's assume you have a boundary and here is a batsman. Right. So here is a boundary. So let's assume boundary is 100 meters. Don't ask me leg side or offside. Okay, just 100 meters boundary. Now the batsman is here. When he hits a ball, if it goes more than 100 meters, he will get 6 runs. If he hit balls to 200 meters, will he get 12 runs? No, right? So Even if he hit 300 meters also, still he will get 6 runs only. So there, 6 runs is a boundary defined. Again, for as batsman is in the crease, for every single ball, he is going to get 6 runs without hitting. No, right? So even if IAM user is there, he need to have permissions. You have an IAM user, that IAM user need to have permissions. Having permission is nothing but hitting a boundary. Okay, so now we have added some permissions. 1 second, guys. Okay, so he have hit boundary, he even so the maximum runs he is going to get is a 6, right? So what I want to do is I have an IAM user. I want to give only S3 access to the user. I want to limit him to work only on S3. Even if someone added more permissions, still that should not work. The maximum permission I want to define for an IAM user is S3 full access. Even if someone added administrator access, if someone gave EC2 access, right? If someone gave power user access, those all should not work. Only till S3 it should work. So till S3 is equivalent to 6 runs here. Even if he hit 200 meters, 300 meters also, only 6 runs he is going to get, right? Similar way, that 6 runs is our S3 full access. Additionally, if someone added or he added, so then still it should not work. That is what this permission boundary concept is. I'll quickly show you this. But again, I'm only repeating this. We really don't use this in real environments. Then why we are discussing it? Okay, in interview, you can expect one question. So you have an IAM user. He is trying to log into AWS account and performing some operation. He is not able to do that. He is not able to do that activity. What are all the things you are going to verify? What are all the things you are going to verify? In that scenario, 90% of the users will tell, okay, I'll go and verify policies associated to that user. Then he said, all policies are allowing. Then what is your answer? Remaining 5% users, they will tell, okay, I'll use policy simulator. I'll evaluate the policy. Which one is not allowing? I'll come to know about that. So then I'll try to fix it. Okay. Still, okay, you can add one more point to that. So I'll go and verify permissions boundary. If any permission boundary is added, so his permissions maximum restricted to that permission boundary only. He cannot perform remaining operations. So if you add these 3 points for that question, that interviewer will satisfy 100%. Okay. So for that purpose, I'm explaining it. Now, so let me create a user here. Click on add user. A user name is going to be task2. I'm going with password. I'm creating a strong password now itself. I'm not enforcing to create a new password. So now what I'm doing here, I'm going to give S3 full access. And I'm also setting up permission boundary. I'm creating a permission boundary that also maximum as a S3 full access. Then click on next. Review, create user. User created. Now let's log in as this user. Okay, all right. Here I logged into my AWS account as a task2 user. Navigating to S3. Navigating to S3. I'm able to access all the S3 resources. Let's click on create a bucket. We will talk about S3 from tomorrow onwards. Okay, I'm giving some random name. It should not contain any spaces. Scroll down to bottom, create a bucket. So bucket is successfully created. Apart from S3, I cannot access any other resources. Why? Because it is implicit allow. I have given only S3 permission. We can access only S3. But now, just observe here, for the same user, task 2 user, I'm adding add permissions. I'm adding administrator access. Whenever you add administrator access, what happens? He can access everything, right? So S3 full access, administrator access. Now, when we navigate here, if I gave S3, it is working fine. But if I go to this EC2 and all, if I'm giving a refresh, is that issues fixed? If I go to IAM, if I'm navigating to IAM, as he have administrator access, it should allow him to see the users, create users, delete users. Is he able to do this? No. Why? Permission boundary is set up to give only S3 access. So he can access only S3, not more than that. So now, for that interview question, you add I'll verify policy, I'll verify permission boundary. If both are not there, still it is giving an issue. I'll use policy simulator. What exactly action he is trying to perform? I select that, I'll simulate the policies. Then I'll come to know which one is allowing, which one is denying. I'll work on that to fix the issue. That should be your answer. Okay? Clear with that? Yeah. So this is one point. Another one is, so sometimes, so most of the times we are going to manage permissions from group level, guys. We will manage permissions from group level. Okay. So whenever we are managing permissions from group level, sometimes we may land into some scenario that one user required special permission. Okay. And that too, it's not going to be a repeated one. So in simple, I need a policy. That policy, I'm going to use it for only one time. I'm not going to reuse that policy again and again. If I want to reuse the policy, I can go to policies and I can create, we can associate this policy to multiple users, multiple times. It's a reusable one. But I want to create a policy that only one time request or only for one user I'm going to use it. In such type of scenario, we can depend on inline policy option. It's an inline, it's aligned to only one entity. It's aligned to only one particular entity. Entity is a user or group here. So you go here, you see this, add inline policy. Click on this plus symbol, create a service. What service access you want to give? Okay, I'm selecting IAM. All operations are same. And I'm selecting all resources for now. Review policy. I'm calling it as a one-time -IAM policy is a name I'm giving. Just remember this name. Create policy. So now a policy created, but this policy is a inline policy. If you go to policy screen, I'm navigating to policy screen and I'm trying to find that policy here. See, no matches, nothing. Why? Because it's an inline policy. It's aligned to that particular entity only. It's not a reusable one. So we have a use case for this. Whatever the permissions you are adding to this user, that policy or whatever the policy you are going to take in backend, we have this JSON code, right? This JSON code should not exceed some size. That number is not in my mind. IAM user policy size limit So that policy size limit is 6144. So some of the policies, like the user have more and more policies, this limit is reached. You can't associate any new policy. You can't associate any reusable policies or AWS managed policies. In that scenario, what you can do, you create an inline policy and you associate that here. So that is another scenario where we use these inline policies. Okay. So just have that also in mind. So these all topics we have in IAM. Two topics pending. One is roles. Second one is identity providers. Identity providers we will discuss later. We have a session on that. Roles. So if I want to explain role, I need to have a server. Okay. So we will discuss this roles part in our EC2 module. Not now. Okay. So apart from this, we have discussed these IAM important all options. So any questions on this IAM? I'm open to all your questions on IAM. You have any question, Vinay GC?